between 700 and 1,000 years, they can reproduce the same human being that could live eternally. And this is the only way to reach eternal life.
So one of the things that we believe is in a place called Zion. Is Zion a part of your guys' theology or mission?
They are able to move a full solar system from one place to the other. They could come over to Earth and take it over whenever they want. Why the Elohim want to come on planet Earth? First of all, to give us the scientific heritage, which is over 25,000 years ahead of us. The second thing is that they are in contact with other extraterrestrial civilizations that they want to welcome in their embassy.
Welcome in here on Zion Media, and I got a full crew today. I am joined by Trevor the Keys, David the Lion, Douglas, Latter-day Chad, and we have an awesome guest for you guys today. There is a group, and you probably never heard of them. Maybe you have. I hadn't. They're called the Raelians, and they are a group that believes in the Elohim, which is something that I find very interesting because you don't find many other religions outside of the Latter-day Saint religion that believes in the Elohim. That's a common term used in the LDS faith, and that is something that they talk a lot about. I am joined by Ariel Leon. I don't want to mess this up. Mellul. How do I say it? Mellul.
Yes.
Mellul. And he's gonna be.
He murdered it.
I know, I killed it. I like the name Ariel. Ariel's such a cool name.
Ariel's sick.
That's great.
So we're joined by Ariel, and we're gonna find out what is the Raelian movement, how did it begin, where did it come from, what's the origin. They have a lot of things. We've had on our show. We've talked about UFOs and we've talked about aliens. And it's interesting because Trevor was talking to me about the Raelians, and literally all of a sudden, I don't know if there are UFOs out there, because all of a sudden I got a message from a guy named Pierre about the Raelians. And so maybe there's something going on here. And I hope that we can figure out what is it that we really have in common in our belief system, what's going on. But for right now, I'm going to introduce Ariel. Ariel, tell us a little bit about...
I say, really quick. When you and I were talking about this, we were in the car and we threw into Chat GPT, like, what are their core beliefs? What are their wild beliefs? And we read them, and every single time we're like, yeah, we kind of believe that same thing, just saying it a different way. And we went to the next one, same thing, saying it a little, same thing. There was a couple that were, out there, but it was wild. And I'm just feeling like, as a, LDS person and my theology and cosmology and, eschatology, there's a lot of things in this discussion and in their beliefs that are going to make you think it twice. It's pretty interesting.
Totally. All right, Ariel, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's jump into the origin of, how Raelianism, I guess, started, where it began, and give us the background and origin. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I would like just to correct a little thing you mentioned. We are not the only ones believing in Elohim or demystifying the name of Elohim, because Elohim is what's mentioned in the original Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh.
True.
Which is in Hebrew. Now, Jewish people are still monotheists because they believe in a single God. Well, I'm going to give you what happened on December 13, 1923. A man called Claude Vorion was driving to his office when he felt the urge to drive to a certain place where he used to go with his family during summertime for picnic. And it was on December 13th, driving to his office, and all of a sudden he felt the urge to go to close to Clermont-Ferrand, to what they call the Puy de la Sola. The Puy de la Sola, it's a special place where some old volcanoes. And when he got there, in the middle of the old volcano, there was nothing special. And he asked himself, what I'm doing here, December 13th, start getting cold. Then I have work to do. I'm going to go back. All of a sudden, he saw something shining in the sky with a beam above and another one below. At the beginning, he thought it was an helicopter. Then all of a sudden, there was no noise, and a spaceship coming down very slowly. Then a ladder opened, and 2 legs start coming down, 2 feet. He saw the 2 feet, and he said, I don't want to move because I don't know who these people are. Maybe you're going to think I'm a tree or something, and they're going to leave. So he saw a man coming down. At the beginning, he thought it was a child, about a meter 30, meter 40, smaller size, with a small beard, long hair up to here. And then Claude Vorillon, what's his name of this man, asked the extraterrestrial that came toward himself with the face full of love, shiny face, no aggressivity at all, no weapon. And he approached him, and then Claude Vorillon asked him a question. Do you speak French? And the extraterrestrial replied, I speak all the languages in the world. And Claude Vorillon asked him again, do you come here often? The extraterrestrial replied, I came here many times. And today, I came to meet with you. Claude Vorillon, you're married, you have 2 children, and you are sport car magazine. You have your own sport car magazine. Now, we telepathically induce you to come here today, as we telepathically induced you 2 weeks ago to come over and buy, go to a library store and buy a Bible from La Pléiade, which is the only Bible in French that the name Elohim was not mistranslated by God. We telepathically induce you to come here today because we have a message for you that you should handle to humanity. He invited him into his craft, and he gave him the following message. Over 25,000 years ago, we came to your planet and created all life on earth, all forms of life. We are the Elohim mentioned in the original Hebrew Bible. We are the ones that sent all prophets from all big religions. Among the most important ones, Moses, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and Joseph Smith. We have sent these prophets to bring message to get humanity ready to prepare our welcoming on earth with all the prophets of God. Now, since August 6, 1945, when the bomb blew up on Hiroshima, we feel the urge to send one last messenger, because you are our children. We created you like we have been created, and one day you will create life on another planet. And we don't want you to auto-destroy yourselves. So this is a time that you have reached the time of apocalypse, which means revelation and not destruction, where you can progress with nuclear or you can auto-destroy yourselves. In these times, we have, first of all, we have we're going to change your name to Rael, which means the light of the Elohim. And in Hebrew, it's Rael Iso Elohim. And as you know, from Egyptian people at the time of the pharaohs, Ra was the sun. So the light. So Rael is the light of Elohim. And they changed his name to Rael. They give him two aims. The first one was to spread the message worldwide, to prepare humanity, to welcome them, to make people understand and start believing, because now we reach the time of understand. This is apocalypse, which means revelation, and this is the time that everything will be revealed. And the second aim they asked for him is to build an embassy, preferably close to Jerusalem, where they will camp with all the prophets. In that embassy it's the third temple the Jewish people are willing to build in Zion, in Zion. And this is the mountain of Zion, is the temple of Jerusalem where it should be built. This is a wrap-up of the messages.
So what happens? So he has this, he's told this. What does he do? This is 1974. So what does he do? Where does he go? 1973. So then what?
Then he went to then the Elohim, this extraterrestrial that he met with, asked him to come over during 6 days without talking to anyone, because they told him, if you talk to someone, we have been following you since you were born and even before. So we know everything about you, and we know everything you think. We know everyone you talk to, and so and so. So you shouldn't talk to no one. You bring tomorrow a pen and something to write, a book or a booklet or whatever, where you can take notes. And then you come over, and you don't wear any metal. You shouldn't wear any metal with you. And if you talk to someone, we will not meet again. So he didn't talk to his wife. He didn't talk to no one. He was there the day after for 6 days. And they dictate him a book, which is called Intelligent Design, that people can download on our website, rael.org, for free, to read it. And they will know what is the message this civilization with over 25,000 years ahead of us, they gave to humanity. Now that we have the technology and science to understand and stop believing it. So he wrote the book. He sent this book to an editor. Apparently the editor lost the book. And all of a sudden, this editor that had someone that came to his office that was doing television programs, he saw this book and he interviewed Rael. He asked him to go to his show. Then he went to his show, and all started, because on this show, many people, it was in France, many people that show this show start sending letters telling him, this is what I always thought. Because there are three possibilities. Either there is a God somewhere that is everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Either there is the evolution, the theory of evolution, which doesn't stand anymore. And the third possibility is that we have been created by a more advanced civilization, and the Elohim are over 25,000 years ahead of us.
So when he described the Elohim, did he describe them? He said they were a little shorter, but 2 arms, 2 legs. They looked just like us.
2 legs, exactly like us, but they were short. The color of the skin is most like Asian people. Their eyes, almond-shaped eyes, but exactly the same face like us, and that's described in the Bible. They created us to their image and likeness.
Did he describe what their hair was like? because the description I'm
Say,
looking for is
Rael mentioned the hair was a little bit long until the shoulder, and it was black hair.
Black hair.
black.
Okay,
Interesting.
cool. Trevor, do you got any questions?
Yes, I do. I've got a multitude of questions. So I find it interesting that one of the prophets that you say that the Elohim directed or sent was Joseph Smith, and you put that on a pretty big pedestal. You mentioned, I think what I remember is Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Joseph Smith.
Absolutely. And many others, because there were more than 40 sent to Israel. Now, what happened with all the prophets that were sent? Most of them, or the majority of them, either they were jailed or they were killed. Jesus, Joseph Smith, Elijah the prophet that had to hide on the cave because they were looking for him to kill him. And as you know, he went to the skies in a chariot of fire, as it mentioned, but chariot of fire, today we can understand what it is. But at the time of primitive people who had no science, no technology, they couldn't understand what it was. So they described, the only thing they knew was camels, horses, and chariots that, they describe it that way. Like when,
So here's
Muhammad, they say Muhammad traveled from Mecca to Medina and from Medina to Jerusalem at the speed of light. And then he had a horse with wings called El Burak that went to the seventh heaven with Gabriel. Now, the only thing, as I mentioned, the only transportation they had were camels and horses. So they describe a horse with two wings because, like we describe angels with two wings, because these people can fly. Now, why do they call it El Burak? El Burak comes from the Hebrew word maverick. Maverick is something shiny. And even in English, when a person is very bright, we call is shiny, is bright. So it's a maverick.
Can I point something out?
Maverick still,
Can I point something out in case any of this is going over anyone's heads? There's a few call it anachronisms, how we would talk about it in LDS, and he's describing one of these here, and giving a different view on it, which is quite interesting. Chad, I know you had a question. I had something that we can address. Doesn't have to be immediately, maybe throughout as we discussed, but this writing that he put out, could you give a little more description about what it is, what it entails? Is there any prophecies? Is there any specific theology or missions or any of it? Is it considered scripture for you guys, or is it considered sacred writings? What level do you treat the authenticity of that book? Is it a book?
it is a book, and you can find it, as I mentioned, on our website, rael.org. You can download it for free. In any language you want, it's translated in all languages.
And give us some background. What, like, I can tell you the background of the Book of Mormon, but give us the background of what he received from the Elohim.
Well, he received from the Elohim all the demystification of the original Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, and the Kabbalah as well, which explain and demystify a little bit more what it was like belief. Because as you know, Elohim for Hebrew people, for Jewish people, are a God. But Elohim doesn't mean God. Elohim in ancient Hebrew mean those who came from the skies. And Elohim, it's a plural word of the word Eloha. And this is where Allah come from, because before the Quran was written, it was Elaha, which means Eloha, to mention one. Because what we call Yahweh or Yod, He, Vav, He, which is the most important of all the Elohim, and it's not a God, it's a human being. It's the leader of all the Elohim. This man, he is the one that met with Rael. He is the one that met with Mary, and he's the father of Jesus, as well as maybe the father of many other prophets. And this is all explained in that book. As I mentioned, you can have it for free on rael.org, but it's very interesting. But it's a book you need to read with an open mind. It's for you fine, because first of all, there is something very important you should understand here. We are here to convey a message. We're not here to convince no one. Now we have the possibility, we have the knowledge, we have the technology to travel to the space and to understand better that what our primitive ancestors couldn't understand, couldn't describe.
So at that point, after he writes the book, does he begin to create some kind of an organization, some kind of a religion?
Exactly.
What does he then do?
Well, the word religion is to be related. We are related to the Elohim. I mean, we don't connect personally with them. We try to make telepathic contact on Sunday morning, sending love. And this is what Rael is mentioning in his book, and he's asking us to meditate for peace, because we are all one. Every human being, it's a cell of this huge body that composes humanity. And only love and peace can save humanity, because if there is no peace among us, and if we are one cell of this huge body that composes humanity, we shouldn't be killing each other. And it's written in the Ten Commandments, you shall not kill and you shall not steal. Now, do we observe these commandments? Not. I don't think so. Not even today. Unfortunately, in Israel, those who are called Jews, they don't observe this. Look what's happening in Gaza.
Now, tell me a little bit of your experience with the organization. I mean, before we came on here, you speak a multitude of languages, which was very impressive. We heard him speak Spanish and French, and he speaks Hebrew. But tell us a little bit about how you found Raelianism, and give us a story of your journey as you were on your quest for truth.
Great. Thank you, dear Shane, for bringing this out. I was born in a religious Jewish family, traditional Sephardic Jews from Morocco. I was born in Tangier. And since my childhood, I always had questions, which I never got the right answers. Not from the family, not from the rabbis, not from teachers in school, because I was in a Hebrew school. I was always asking, why so many names for Elohim, Adonai, El Shaddai, Elyon, Merkabah, and this and that? And, no answers. So, okay, this is what we have been taught. We don't know. This is what we have been taught. This is the way we have been taught. This is the way we teach you. And this is the way you will teach your children. But I was not, satisfied with it. And I continue my life practicing Judaism, observing the Shabbat, observing all the celebrations. I got married in Jewish way. I got 2 children. My first son was circumcised according to Judaism, and all of a sudden, one day in 1987, I come across with a book, which is Intelligent Design. At that time, it was called The Book Which Tells the Truth. And when someone brought me that book, I didn't want to read it, because you're not going to tell the truth to a Jew that is practicing Judaism, because according to our point of view, according to our mentality, according to the Bible, we know the truth and we should be the light of humanity, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. But when I read this book, it answers all questions that I had since my childhood. All of them. without any exception. And what I did, I still wanted to have proofs. So at that time, I didn't speak Hebrew, because after many years, I went to Israel and lived there for 18 years. But because I didn't speak Hebrew, I took a Hebrew dictionary, French, Hebrew. I took the original Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh. I took the book of the messages, and I start translating from the Tanakh, sentence by sentence, to confirm these messages were true. And they were not a fake, or someone that wrote something just from his mind to try to mislead people and mislead Jewish people. And I came to the conclusion, with all the proofs, without the slight doubt, the Elohim mentioned in the Bible are a more advanced civilization than us, that created us to their image. So what our ancestors couldn't understand and thought they were gods, these people are another civilization, a more advanced civilization, without the slight doubt. And I give lectures. I have been given lectures since 1987, that I joined the Raelian movement, since 1988, because that was on December 13, 1987, that I joined the Raelian movement. In 1988, I start contacting Jewish communities worldwide. Then Rael gave me the responsibility of all Jewish communities worldwide. Then I started contacting and giving lectures in New York, in Miami, everywhere in the States, in Europe, all over Europe, in Paris, in Italy, in Switzerland, in Belgium. Then one day, I decided to go to Israel to start the Raelian movement there. And I went there in 1988. On November 1988, I went to Israel and I learned Hebrew. I became Israeli citizen because, as you know, if someone is trying to do missionary in Israel, they throw you out. So as a Jew, I was entitled to have my Israeli citizen, which allowed me to not to be, well, that was my protection, not to be thrown out of the country as a missionary. So you know what's going on there. Because, you know, as the Rael recommend, and the Elohim, according to the message of the Elohim, we shouldn't take our children and teach them our religion. We should teach them all religions. And they will be adult. They will choose what is convenient for them. You know, Jewish people, when we born, 8 days after we got circumcised. I didn't ask for it. But, you know, because we're Jewish, we got circumcised. Christian children get baptized. Muslim, at the age of 6, 7, they also have circumcision. So this is all. We are born into a religion. We didn't choose the place where we are born. We didn't choose our religion, but we were automatically put in with a name, with a religion, with a label on our forehead, and you are so and so and so. That's it. Take it or leave, and that's the way it is.
How was your message received in Israel among your people?
Listen, in Israel was the easiest place, according to it, depend on what cities. Because in Tel Aviv, it's very open. But if you go to Jerusalem and you go to Mea Shearim, which is the ultra-Orthodox from Neturei Karta, you cannot even talk to these people, because they don't read or study the Tanakh. They mostly study the Talmud. And what is the Talmud? Is what the rabbi tell them to learn and to develop. And there are some verses from the Tanakh even, or from the Talmud, that they're not allowed to read between two people. They need to be alone. And if you have a question, you come to see the rabbi, because they don't want people to understand differently. When you have on Ezekiel, from chapter 1 To 128, it's a description of a spaceship landing on Earth. And this Ezekiel is describing it.
Yeah,
And
Ezekiel's will. Yeah, it certainly does, and we kind of feel that same way. That's what Ezekiel is seeing there.
exactly. And now what also happened is that when Ezekiel described that, I have brought, when I give lectures, I bring all citations from the original Hebrew Bible, from the Tanakh, from the Zohar, from the book of Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day of Judaism. I bring citations from many Hebrew scripts without the slight doubt. They confirm the Elohim are a more advanced civilization that came to Earth and created us. Now, when I give lectures, I'm going to tell you what happened. This is very funny. Rabbis came to block the entrance of our hall, or rent the hall just next to us to make noise, to avoid people to listen to my lectures. Now, I am inviting them because if they're rabbis, they certainly have learned more Hebrew than what I have learned myself, because they are born into religion. They are born into Talmudic lectures and Talmudic scripts, and from their father, from their grandfather. So I invite them to come over and make me feel ridiculous in front of everyone. But they don't. They don't. Why they don't? I told them, if you can prove the opposite of what I'm bringing here, please come over and make me feel stupid in front of everyone. But they don't. Why? Because they cannot prove the opposite. Because the citations I am bringing are not my citations. They are in the Holy Scripts. And
How familiar?
don't change any word. They're exactly the same. And the translation, it's very accurate.
So, how familiar are you with Mormon theology? How familiar are you with, say, the Book of Mormon, for instance? Is it a book that you've read before? What is your view or your opinion? Obviously, you mentioned Joseph Smith.
I know we have, I haven't read the whole book, but I know Joseph Smith was another of the Elohim prophets. I know that Joseph Smith, in his book, mentioned so many citations that are very close to Raelism.
Okay. Give me what does Raelianism, what are the tenets of the belief, of the faith? Because I went online and I found some things that talk about some sexual things, some polygamy things. Can you go ahead and break down? Because I don't know if what I'm reading online is accurate or inaccurate, but help us understand a little bit about if those practices exist. What are they, or what are they not?
Well, when the Elohim created us, they created us naked, and we shouldn't be ashamed of being naked. Now, when you want to destroy someone's belief because is the truth, and it is the essential truth about our origins, many religions are afraid of that. Because today people are thinking, people are reading. We have intelligent design today. We have IA. We have all the technologies to understand. If you write on ChatGPT or any artificial intelligence, they give you more information than an encyclopedia can give you, encyclopedia that 20 years ago can give you. And this is what we are bringing here, and this is what disturbs many people, because this is the essential truth. And either the Catholic Church, it was always blamed, since Judaism was blamed in the time of the Inquisition for taking the blood of the children to do their prayer on Shabbat, which is Friday evening. This is why so many Jews were expelled from Spain. But also we need to understand that the Jews were the ones that were lending the money to governments and other people. So when the governments didn't have money and the church was overrunning the governments, they had to expel the people without giving them their money. So they went back to all North Africa and all that. At the time of Hitler, they were saying Jews were taking ladies in their stores and they were kidnapping them. And when everyone wants to destroy not a belief, something that could be dangerous, because what we're doing, what I'm doing with the messages of the Elohim, and what Rael is bringing today, it's shaking the basis of Judaism. Because people today will be able to understand, and I can bring all the proofs and citations, that the Elohim are a more advanced civilization, and they cannot prove the opposite. So we're shaking the basis of Judaism. And this is why he had so many death threats. I had so many death threats. I had to run in Paris. I had to run away from a hall where I was giving a lecture, and someone had to take me all over Paris with a motorcycle because they wanted to kill me.
Wow.
In New York, I had the same problem. In Miami, in the religious quarters, they were spitting at us. In New York, same way. Listen, people are not brainwashed. They have born into that. You cannot change. We're not here, as I say, we're not here to convince no one. We'll convey a message, but this message, someone find it very, very dangerous. Now, we were talking about sexuality. You know, as Mormons, you know that you people have not married with many women. You can marry with one because this is polygamy. But Mormons can have other women living in their homes. And, you know, it's their business. There were some other cases, because I know that there were many cases, as David William, Ruth, and many others that were convicted for crimes for sexuality. We need to understand something here. When there is a religion, either Jews, other Muslim, other Christian, other Raelians, other Mormons, anyone, there we have and we welcome everyone among a society. In this society, there are people that could be criminal. There are people that could be thieves. There are people that could be rapists. There are people that could be pedophilians. We don't know. The only thing is that when we have someone like that, we immediately call the police, because we denounce that. We are against all crimes or any abuse of child. We have a freedom of sexuality among adults only.
Gotcha. Okay. So just so you know, the sect of Mormonism that we belong to quit practicing polygamy in 1890, I think it was, somewhere in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So that hasn't been a part of our practice. That said, it hasn't been completely eradicated from Mormonism, and there still are forms of polygamy practiced inside of Mormonism. And so I just wanted to get your thoughts. Yeah.
I want to clarify one thing too, Ariel. If you're Mormon, and you're married and you have another person living with you, if you got caught, you'd be put on, a trial, a disciplinary trial, and you'd have your membership revoked if you continued to. So you can't do that. Like, we'd have way more Mormons if you could.
So here's one thing. Here's one thing that says that.
I have nothing against that.
Yeah. So I have Latter-day Saints.
We are what we have been taught in Raelism is that each one of us is an individual, and we don't belong to no one, and nobody belongs to us. I mean, not because you're married, your wife belongs to you. She's not something you bought. It's not something you purchased.
Right.
It's not your car. It's not your building. It's not your house. It's a human being that it's your equal.
So let me ask you a question. I feel like if somebody wants to live that way, that I give them freedom. I don't have to necessarily agree with it. But if I have my one, right, that's like my wife, doesn't matter if it's your wife. Like if you have your one, your partner, there's a point where it's more special to commit to each other and just feeling like I'm gonna withhold myself just to you because you matter so much to me, and having that mutual commitment backwards is very strengthening in a relationship. And when you give that up, I see it destroy tons of marriages that maybe were on the way to destruction anyways. But are people, so that's my personal opinion on that. Are people in your organization or religion or movement, I'm not quite sure what it is, do they have to be, open sexual, or can they be completely in a normal partnership or marriage and not be looked down upon? Like, oh, you're not living the highest order.
Not at all. Not at all. Everybody have his couple. Everybody's living with his wife, with their family. And some people that, they want to have extramarital affair, if the wife consent and they consent or whatever, that's fine with them. But I mean, it's not something guided by realism. This is a way of life. And some people adopt it, some people don't. But I mean, you can live with your wife, and if you have a companion that you get well with it, you don't need anyone else.
So Shade, tell me if this rings true to you. This would be like if at the pulpit they're like, hey, we just changed our temple membership questions, and one of the things that we're taking out of the doctrine is if you want to swing, as long as you're not doing all these other bad things and you're a good person, if you want to swing and your wife's okay with it, you can do it and have your temple. That's what they're saying.
No, what I am saying is that there are swingers worldwide.
Yes, but it's not going to.
They're not necessarily Israelians. This is what I mean. And not suppose someone is Israelian that is a swinger as well. Sure.
I gotcha. So tell me a little bit about Rael. What is he doing now? Is he still having communication with the Elohim? Is he still producing revelation? What is his mission and purpose now?
He's always giving us some about recently he talked about gravitons, which is gravitation of atoms of a molecule that are composed by love, with love. And this adds everything in the universe is pure love. Why? Because we are part of this infinite universe, which call in Hebrew Ein Sof, which means no end. And there is no end and there is no beginning. Life was always there in different forms. Now, we are reaching a level now that we can either advance or auto-destroy ourselves with all the bombs that are everywhere and everybody shooting at another one. And this is going crazy in this world. Now, if we are ready to evolve, if we are ready to be aware that each and every one of us is part of ourselves and we are part of a whole, we don't kill each other, because it's like if we are, each one of us is a cell of this huge body that we call humanity. It's like a cell of my finger shooting at the cell of my leg. We will not harm ourselves with a knife or shooting with a gun my leg to kill some cells. And this is what humanity should be aware of.
How many people are in the movement right now?
We are, as members, we are, I think, over 85,000, but members and sympathizers, we are over 237,000 worldwide in all continents.
Okay. And where is Rael up there in Canada? Is that where he
No, Rael was living in Canada. Now he's living in Japan, in Okinawa. And we celebrated on December 13, 1923, we celebrated the 58th anniversary of the first encounter with the Elohim. And on October 7, we're going to celebrate the second encounter that he had with the Elohim when they took him to their planet. Like they took Moses, like they took Jesus, like they
Enoch.
took Muhammad, like they took Joseph Smith. Because when Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, he was not in the desert for 40 days, like Moses was not in Mount Sinai when he received the 10 Commandments. They took him to the planet, like they took Rael, and they taught them what they explained them. It was easier for Rael because it was not 40 days. It was, I think, 12 hours or 24 hours. I'm not sure exactly. But our understanding today is not the same time like Moses, or the same time like Joseph Smith, or the same time of Abraham or other prophets. So some take them longer to understand, and they don't want them to be afraid as well.
Gotcha. Latter-day Chad, you had some questions here. So fire away your questions.
So I noticed some similarities and some differences. For example, with you guys, it seems to be that your beliefs are that this sort of evolution to the Elohim level, because we both believe that. We both believe that God is what we would call an exalted man, where he was once a human like us, and then he ascended to the level he would be at, right? So in that regard, yours seems to be more of like a technological, biological evolution sort of thing, where ours seems to be more of like a consciousness evolution, where our consciousnesses are eternal and incarnate into these physical forms, and that through our consciousnesses progress by overcoming sins or whatever, we are able to upgrade our bodies essentially to these higher levels. So that's one, like, a similarity I've noticed, because we do believe that, like, Elohim, the Elohim, that they have their own planets, and that basically one by one many of us are people who are already at that Elohim level that came down here to help speed up that progression to that level.
The Elohim have two planets, one where all the Elohim live, and they have created another planet which they call the Garden of Eden, which in Hebrew is Gan Eden, which means the garden of DNA. How do they created us? With genetic manipulations of DNA. And let me explain you how the Elohim get eternal life. And in this planet, they have our genetic code of each individual, even before we were born, that is born on our planet, and probably on other planets they created. At the time someone dies, there is a computer, because they have a technology that is over 25,000 years ahead of us. They have a computer that evaluates all the good you have done in your life. And if you deserve, they will recreate you exactly the same way you are on planet Earth. Now, they don't need your cell because they already have their genetic code. But the Elohim, in the planet of the Eternals that we call Gan Eden, which is the garden of DNA, or the Garden of Eden, they live between 700 and 1,000 years. Between 700 and 1,000 years, the bodies start getting older. So what they do is that they remove a cell from your forehead, they put it in a machine or computer or whatever, like they did with Rael when he was there, and they produce exactly the same human being as a clone. Now, the same way we buy a new computer and we can download the memory and all information we have on our old computer into the new one, the Elohim have today the technology to download all the memory, all the thoughts, all the knowledge, all the souvenirs of this old body into the new body they created. with the same, between cloning and between 700 and 1,000 years, they can reproduce the same human being that could live eternally. And this is the only way to reach eternal life. And this is why all governments forbidden to do cloning are forbidding cloning everywhere in the world. Why? Because the day one man in a laboratory or a woman in a laboratory will create another human being, there will be no more place for God. So the mystery of God will be over. So what problems governments will have with all the religions? They will be like, they will blow their mind. They will burn the government. They will burn the cities. You imagine telling a Muslim we have been created by extraterrestrial, or telling Christians,
Yeah, I mean,
or Jewish?
and I definitely think that there's truth to it in the sense. There's, like I said, there's a lot of similarities because we do believe that the Elohim came from another world. One of the differences I would say is that we believe that Jesus and Yahweh or Jehovah are the same person, right? And if you go to this sort of first temple Judaism, I know you mentioned that there were these different names like El Elyon or Shaddai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus,
And
what his name was Yehoshua in Hebrew, he is the son of Yahweh and a woman of the earth. And
yeah,
this is my personal opinion, but I believe if Mary was virgin and the Elohim have over 25,000 years ahead of us, she probably got inseminated artificially.
right.
Probably.
So do you guys believe that Jesus is like the savior of the world then? Or
This was the Messiah sent
Yeah.
to Israel.
okay.
He was sacrificed because he was shaking the basis of Judaism, like
Okay.
most of the prophets. This is why, as I mentioned, over 40 prophets that were sent to Israel, most of them, they were jailed or killed. Look, with Daniel, they put him in a cage with lions. And this is explained also in the book that the Elohim gave to Rael.
So what do the Raelians believe is coming? Like, I know in the Christians, they're waiting for the second coming. They believe Jesus is going to return.
Yes.
What do the Raelians believe is on the horizon? Is it just more technology? And so this technology allows ascension to happen? Give me the beliefs on what the Raelians believe is going to happen in the future.
According to the messages Rael received from the Elohim, we need to build an embassy for them, which is a third temple. And he is the one that was announced by Jesus and by other prophets as the Paraclete. So he is the last Elohim prophet that will come to reveal the truth about our origins. He is the one that should build the third temple. And this and this third temple is the place where the Elohim should come. Well, because when Solomon built the first temple, was a house to welcome the Elohim, because he mentioned clearly, you live in the skies, and I will build a house for you that you will come. When they built the second temple was not for the same purpose necessarily, because the Elohim never show up. But on the third temple, the Elohim should come over, but humanity should be ready to welcome them. Humanity should be ready to be peaceful. No aggressivity at all. No hate, no stealing, no killing, nothing like that. We should destroy all atomic bombs because we are going to kill ourselves. If you saw that people that are starving today in some places in the world, and others are multi-billionaires with yachts and everything, it's fine to have money. But I mean, how can we as human beings destroy someone's house, destroy lives, destroy each other for greed, for power, for being in power in a government, for creating conflicts to sell weapons to kill each other? Why we're doing all that if we're going to die one day. We are born with nothing, and we will go without nothing as well.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. So
I have a question.
hold on just a second. So if Rael is the one to build the third temple, I mean, how old is he? And is he making any progress in building that facility to welcome back the Elohim?
Definitely yes, because we have few countries. We have been asking the state of Israel 7 times or more, because I was living there for 18 years. And even before I was there, Rael sent them a letter, a dream that many rabbis have made, thinking of the Messiah. And he was announcing himself as the Messiah that should build the third temple to welcome the Elohim. For 7 times that we have wrote official letters to the government, they have refused. Now, since then, the Elohim decided that this third temple could be built in any country now. We then just need a country that will accept to give extraterritoriality like all the embassies, which means nobody can go in, not the army, not the police, not any spies to see how it's made and all that, because the Elohim want to have their own private place. It's like if you are American, you cannot go into the Russian embassy because that's like their land. Or if you have the American embassy, no one can go in without being invited. This is why the Elohim want to come in peace, in love. They're not invaders. The Elohim today, with their technology, they are able to move a full solar system from one place to the other. They could come over to Earth and take it over whenever they want. They can make all the bombs that could not function because they have the technology for that.
And they don't do that because they're allowing for agency to take place, and they're allowing us to grow, and this is part of the same pattern that they went through, and so they're allowing us as their children or offspring to go through that similar pattern?
Exactly. You're absolutely right. They went through all that, and after when they found out they have been created after the flood. Why? When the flood happened, it was not, first of all, it was not a sheep that gathered all the animals and so on, because there is no sheep even today that can gather so many people, so many animals, 2 from each and 7 from each, with their food, with their and all that. There is no such big thing today. So what happened? When Noah, the some Elohim, to save some of the humanity, some of the Elohim that were on planet Earth asked Noah to build, or they teach him, or they give him a spaceship. How come they took 2 of each animals and 7 of each? They didn't took the animal. They removed 1 cell. The Elohim removed 1 cell of every species. They put it in a small box like that, because 1 cell, it's nothing. So they put it in a small box, and they took him above Earth, and it's written in the original Hebrew Bible, Vetaram hateva me'al haaretz, in Hebrew, the box, or the teva, which means a box or whatever, it doesn't say the sheep, because sheep in Hebrew is fina or oniyah. It's not that. They say, and the box went above Earth. And some people tell, well, the force and the power of the flood made the box went above the water, but it's not above the water. It's above Earth. And this is what happened. Now, after the flood, the Elohim received a computer or something like that, informing them from their creators they were getting too close to the sun and maybe their planet will disappear. These creators from the Elohim, they told them, we have created you and you have created other human beings. Don't destroy them. Let them evolve until they could understand. And this is where we're going now, because the Elohim want us to evolve, to be peaceful. Because if we are not peaceful, to go out space and communicate with other civilizations, why the Elohim want to come on planet Earth? First of all, to give us the scientific heritage, which is over 25,000 years ahead of us. The second thing is that they are in contact with other extraterrestrial civilization that they want to welcome in their embassy. But if we're shooting at them like idiots with our F-16, shooting at the Elohim or shooting at a UFO or shooting at a spaceship, and the Elohim want to welcome our civilization, we need to reach this level of peace, which we need to develop our supraconsciousness to be more peaceful, to be more brothers and sisters, to be more humans. Because today, the way we see humanity, it's a shame to be part of this humanity.
Yeah. So one of the things that we believe is in a place called Zion that gets established in the last days in the mountain of the Lord, and there's no poor among you. That's a pivotal belief inside of our faith. Is that also something Raelianism is attempting to create? Is Zion a part of your guys' theology or mission? Is to build Zion or build a place that we call Zion?
To build Zion, it's the New Jerusalem. So Jerusalem it's the third temple that we want to build to welcome the Elohim. Now, many religious people, Jewish religious people, they tell you the third temple will come from the skies. We don't know. I can't pronounce myself on that. But is it a spaceship with the shape of this third temple or embassy that will come from the skies? It's possible. That's my personal opinion. It's not written in the book. In the book, it is written that we should be ready to welcome the Elohim, to build them an embassy, to welcome them, and the people that they have created, humanity, should be peaceful enough and aware enough to recognize them as our creators, to stop believing, start understanding, and to welcome them as our fathers from space.
That's interesting because we have our fathers in heaven, but if you say it, our father in space, it's a different connotation. But if you think about it, where's heaven? Right? Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world."
It was right.
So there is something interesting because this idea that, because you believe that Rael is the servant in the book of Isaiah, right? Who builds up this earthly kingdom of Zion. And you guys have this understanding that the servant in Isaiah is the comforter, correct?
Rael definitely is the one announced by Jesus, by most of the prophets, as the Paraclete. He is the last Elohim messenger. He is the one that should build this third temple.
So I've actually...
He's the long-awaited Messiah.
Right. So I've actually been visited by messengers who from beyond who have given me instructions. So you guys have probably seen me on here talking about the Davidic servant, talking about the comforter and stuff. And it's because I've been given instructions on this stuff to essentially, I've been given the task to speak on these things to wake people up, because I've been told that the comforter is on the earth right now. So there's certain things, because we do have a lot of people claiming this person or that person is the comforter. There's a lot of things. For example, one thing I was directed to, and I actually have this right here that I was just studying over and highlighted, is in Isaiah 54. That is a description of the comforter's wife, apparently. And I'm just curious to see if Rael's wife, does he have a wife?
Yes, he had a wife. Yeah, definitely.
So the description given in Isaiah 54 is of a barren woman who's not able to conceive children, and that she is refused by her first husband, and she's put to shame because she's not able to have children. And then the one who becomes the god of this earth, so that's the servant. He becomes ruler over this world, ends up becoming her husband, and that's what's being described. And it's a parallel, just like in the book of Hosea, where Hosea is called by God to be a prophet, and he is told to marry a woman who will be adulterous towards him, and it's meant to represent how God feels when we go after idols, where we're worshiping false idols or whatever. And the Lord, Jehovah or Yahweh, he basically tells him, like, this is how I feel when you go chasing after these false idols, right? And so the relationship between the prophet and his wife, part of the prophecy is that it parallels the relationship between the Lord and Israel. And in the book of Isaiah, the Comforter is this great redeemer of Israel who comes to bring about the redemption of Zion. And the redemption of his wife, essentially, is meant to parallel. So I'm curious, is there anything with Rael's wife where perhaps she was refused by her first husband, where she's unable to have children, she didn't have children, something like that?
I'm not aware of it. I know that previously Rael was married when he received this message, and he had 2 children, 1 son and a girl.
Okay.
But Rael was not recognized by a father.
Okay.
Then the Elohim explained to Rael when they took him to their planet. He told him, this is Jesus and this is your brother. I am your father, like I am the father of Jesus. And as a Jew, I always had questions about Sarah and Abraham when the Elohim, third day that Abraham got circumcised himself.
Yeah.
There were 3 angels they called that came to him, and they sit with him and they eat with him and drink and all that. And
Yes.
at a certain point, Sarah was sterile, so she couldn't have children.
Yes.
Then she met with Yahweh. I don't know what happened. And then she got pregnant.
Yes. And it's
Was she inseminated artificially? Is Isaac the son of Abraham, or is the son of Yahweh himself?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I don't know exactly how it works, but I do, and it could be because if Rael had 2 wives, maybe it could be, since there's in the prophecy. I mean, this is just what I was explaining. Like, I had a messenger come to me, told me that one way to identify the Comforter is by his wife, and that this is a prophecy of the Comforter's wife. And there's the part that says that the children of the barren woman is greater than the children of the married wife. And that could be an implication. It could be that her first husband remarried and had children, or it could be that the Comforter had an original wife who had children, and then, the second wife is unable to have children because she becomes the mother of Zion.
I have no answer to your question because I don't know about that, but I cannot tell you stories just to.
And it's just like one of the things, like, I'm looking for, like, when I'm trying to identify the Comforter, is that the Comforter's wife, or the servant in Isaiah's wife. It could be dual prophecy. There could be multiple servants in Isaiah that fulfill that. I don't know. But that's sort of like a sign and a token. And there's these other things we go by. And I'm wondering, do you think it's possible that there are multiple of these servants fulfilling that role that are going to come together? Because we have our prophecy of the Davidic servant, this one mighty and strong. And our prophecy is that this guy who we identify as the Comforter is going to come to the LDS church, and he's basically going to set and order the house of God. And he's going to take control of everything with John the Revelator, who we believe John is still on the earth. He's acting as a messenger. He's with the Comforter right now, I believe, working together. And that's another thing that we're sort of looking for with the Comforter, is that based on the book of Revelation, if you read the book of Revelation, it's all about people think it's about the second coming of Jesus. It's not, right? It's explicitly Jesus's messenger who is the one conveying the message. It's not Jesus himself. Jesus says, after I ascend to the Father, you won't see me anymore. I'm going to send the Comforter. And then in the book of Revelation, the Comforter shows up to John, and he tells John, I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren the prophets. So has Rael ever mentioned anything about this John the Revelator type figure? Or
Not that I know about. Not that I know about. Most of Rael book is to demystify all religious aspects and make us today understand that people will understand that we have been created by a more advanced civilization that our primitive ancestors thought as gods.
so do you think that there could maybe be like multiple servant figures or multiple comfort type figures?
You know, there are many false prophets, and they always were false prophets.
There certainly are.
There is probably just one who is a real prophet. And undisturbing today, the Vatican, and the one disturbing many religions, Israel. And this is why they blaming us with all kind of false information regarding sexual, regarding this, because they want to discredit us.
If he were to die, would that discredit any of this? If he were to die and not build the third temple, what would it do to the organization?
Nothing. Another guide of guides will take over, and when the Elohim will come, because they're supposed to come between 2025 and 2035.
Oh, good. We're in 10 years. Elohim's coming back. Let's go.
2034. That's what I'm thinking. 2034, you guys?
Yeah.
I go with that.
It's interesting because the page in our Doctrine and Covenants, which talks about the mortal probation of the Comforter, when it's talking about the root of Jesse that they call him from Isaiah, is on page 234 and 2034. And there's something to that. I don't know what it is, but something's happening in 2034, I think.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, because we know that the Elohim will come between 2025 and 2035. Now, it could be in 34, most probably, because the time that we will be able either to build the embassy or either to have the world population ready to welcome this civilization from the skies, it takes a little bit time, because we need to build this third temple, either or the Elohim will come down with their third temple, which is a spaceship. We don't
I mean, we do believe that the city of
we don't have the material to build this. We don't have the technology. We don't know what material we can use. We don't know what do they want exactly. They have give us the example of a crop circle, which represent the size of the embassy, what they need exactly in a land that will be surrounded by trees and all that. We know that. We have all the specification. But do we have the materials to build it? Is this what the Elohim want? Are we going to build this embassy, or it will come down from the sky? We don't know. I don't know personally. It's not what's written in the message. The message is written that we Raelians should build an embassy to welcome our Creator some space. Now, my personal experience, that's my personal opinion, according to some religious Jews they say the third temple will come from the sky. Everything is possible. Who knows?
Yeah. And we have this belief that the city of Enoch is going to descend from the earth in the last days, that was taken up into heaven. We had Enoch and his city, and it's going to come back down. So, in your opinion, is that how resurrection works? That it's like through some sort of cloning process?
Exactly. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So it wouldn't be, in your guys' viewpoint, like the original Jesus showing up. It would be like a clone of Jesus.
We believe in Jesus like was a prophet that was sent.
Yeah.
One of the most important prophets.
Do you believe that he was resurrected?
He is the son of Yahweh, and he was resurrected through cloning. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the main thing I was asking, is like, if you believe that's how his resurrection worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
How does the Holy Ghost play into the theology of Raelianism, or is the Holy Spirit, Holy Ghost, a part of the theology?
Not part of the theology. We don't believe. We have been in the message of the Elohim doesn't mention that there is a God. and there is no Holy Ghost, and there is no soul even, which is very difficult for people because God and soul is like two crushes that people need to stand on their legs.
I want to ask a question there.
The soul, well, some people don't like the idea, but this is what is mentioned in the book.
Ariel, so you're saying that our perception of soul is our consciousness.
Exactly. It's our genetic code and our consciousness that we should not develop only our consciousness, but our supra-consciousness to become more elevated than what we could be, to become humans of love, become humans of peace, to love each other and care about each other and to share with each other. This is the Raelian philosophy. And what Rael recommends, and we do it every day and even every 59 minutes of every hour, to meditate for peace. And we organize
practice.
so meditations for peace worldwide, a global meditation for peace, the second Saturday of every month. And we have the second Saturday of September, we will have a meditation for peace, a global meditation for peace, which all the continents gather together. We are 300, 400 people, depending on the time. Because in Japan, it's one time, in Asia, it's one time, and in Vegas is 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. So all depends. Some people
How much
wait.
how much interaction do you have yourself with Rael? I mean, are you talking to him regularly?
Oh yeah, we
communicating with him often?
emails, we're in contact most of the
Are-
time.
Are you like if he was the prophet, are you like one of the apostles?
Exactly.
Okay.
We are many, like we can call bishops. I am as I am from original Jewish origin. I am a Raelian chief rabbi,
Okay.
which he appointed me as Raelian chief rabbi because I bring all the citations, and they have brought all the knowledge to demystify the Jewish religion. So he decided to name me Raelian chief
How does
rabbi.
the
here's a question.
hold on real quick. How does the organization fund itself? Like how does
We, in the book, in the message given to Rael, in our book, Intelligent Design, it's written that we should give 1% to Rael to help him with his mission. But after a few years, with 1%, that was money for himself to help him continue with his mission without having the need to work. Now, other guides and members of the movement, they say, Christian, in the Jewish, they give the dime, which is 10%. The Christians also, some of them give 10%. So we should give 10% of our income. Unfortunately, not all Raelians can give 10% because not everybody is rich. For example, someone that's making 20,000 a year, it's very difficult for him to give 2,000. Someone that is making maybe 200,000, it's easy for him to give 20,000. So we have all kinds of people. Nothing is forced, but we recommend to give 10%. That this money will be to help spread the message, develop the message in some other countries that they have not been Raelians yet, and we need to develop the country to spread these messages. And most of the money goes for the building of this third temple.
Gotcha. All right. Latter-day Chad, you had a question. Sorry.
So you were talking about how there's these different positions in the Raelian organization. And in 2 Nephi 3 in our Book of Mormon, when it's talking about the Comforter, it says that the Comforter, like our prophecy is that this guy's going to be hidden, right? He's not going to tell the world who he is. He's going to hide himself, but he's going to send a spokesman who speaks on his behalf. So does Rael have like a person who is his representative, like he's hiding somewhere or something?
No, Rael is not hiding anywhere. And we're going to celebrate our 58th anniversary of the second encounter he had with the Elohim when they took him to their planet. And you are most welcome, because we're going to be all in Okinawa, in Japan, and you are most welcome to attend.
Okay, that makes sense. So the spokesman.
Latter-day Chad better not go. He's a good-looking guy, and I've seen some of these gatherings, so we don't want all the Raelians fawning over him.
Probably a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, as we kind of wrap up here, we've got an hour and 20 minutes. Are there any? This has been really interesting just to learn about the Raelians. Ariel, you've been a great guest. Really appreciate your way and demeanor in talking to us. Do you guys have any final thoughts or questions for Ariel? Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I just have this was something that popped up. We talked about gatherings, and there are some gatherings happening this month here in our neck of the woods. And natives, you mentioned that the Garden of Eden is a planet of the Elohim, and there seems to be a belief that there is some access to the Garden of Eden somewhere in Missouri. It's a place that we call Adamon Diamond. Do you have any idea or thoughts about portals or access to this Garden of Eden here anywhere on the earth?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, great.
Not at all.
Gonna need a spaceship to get there.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Well,
yeah, some people. Go ahead.
Well, listen. No, you can finish, please. Go
Yeah, so some people think that that the Garden of Eden is somehow like there's a portal, or that there's like a hollow earth. And these are thoughts and things that we explored early on when we were a new channel. But I've known that there have been sightings of people seeing UFOs going into the water, maybe to access some portal to another place. But anyway, I don't know what your thoughts are about travel.
Everything is possible. What I know and what I talk about is what's written in the book and according to my experience. Of course, listen, the universe is infinite, like we say in Hebrew, Ein Sof, which means there is no end. If there is no end, there is no beginning in the universe. It means life was always there in different forms. Now, we are a chain of creation of life through universe. And when we will be ready to create one human being, then we will understand that we should stop killing each other. Because love, it's the only way to save humanity.
I agree with that.
Amen to that. Trevor, you got any final
Love
thoughts?
is
Anything?
the only way to save humanity.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well,
Now,
Ariel,
to end up this meeting, I would like here we have a book. I don't know if you can see it, which is called Intelligent Design. Maybe you don't see it.
there it is. Yep, we can see it now.
And you can have it for free. Just go to our website, rael.org, and you can download it for free. What is interesting is to read it. Read it and make up your own mind, because we're not here to convince.
You sound like a Mormon. That's what we say about the Book of Mormon. So that's the best approach.
We are the same, all one. We're all trying to convey to love and peace and humanity, and to save humanity. No matter where it's from, we're all brothers and sisters.
And you said that was
important. What's important, after reading this book, Intelligent Design, ask yourself a question. People that will read it, they can only ask themselves one question. What if this is the truth? What if this is the truth?
And you said that was rail.org, right? Rail.org.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Double checking.
Awesome. Well, this has been so fascinating. It's always interesting for me to learn about other people's beliefs, find what we have in common, because I see a beautiful day ahead where we all do become one, and peace does reign here upon the earth, and love does abound. And I look forward to that day. That's why I'm so excited about the idea of the establishment of Zion and of the New Jerusalem. I really appreciate Ariel coming on. Pierre Charles is the one that helped coordinate this. Appreciate him helping set this up. Fascinating to learn. We may even want you to come back on as we get into the book. Listen, I'm a reader. I spent 62 months in prison, Ariel, and I was the librarian while I was there. And I read lots of books. I read 25 to 30 books a month. And so I love reading. I'm going to take a look at it. I'll read anything. And I look for truth, and I'm an earnest seeker of all truth. And like Paul says, and like our articles of faith say, believe all things. Now, that just means that we should give everything an opportunity. We should look at everything. And I would invite you, Ariel, as well, to even read the Book of Mormon.
With pleasure. With pleasure.
And I know you've looked at it.
We should
Go ahead.
read and be aware of all religions. This is what
Absolutely.
recommended by the Elohim.
Absolutely. And listen, we believe that
Mentioned by the Elohim as well, mentioned by Rael. Rael told us always, if one day I ask you to do something against your consciousness, don't do it. Even if the Elohim asks you to do something against your consciousness, don't do it. And we are
Amen.
that if I tell you to kill someone, don't do it. Like they asked Abraham just to prove him that he was to kill his own son, and the Elohim just want to test him. But
I would have said no.
they didn't imagine he was going to take a knife and kill his son. Who's going to kill your son? If you do that today, they take you to jail.
Yeah, I've had this conversation about our dear friend Abraham. I'm sure he's learned by now.
Yeah, you said that many times, Shane.
I talk about that. Listen, if somebody comes to me and tells me to do anything against my consciousness, I don't care who they are. I'm going to tell them no. I'm not going to do that. And I think that's something that we have to understand, that we have our own consciousness. We have this gift of agency that's been given to us, and we should know not to break covenants that we've made, no matter who's telling us to do it. We can say no. So
even if it's an angel with a drawn sword telling you to break the law of chastity.
Even an angel with a drawn sword telling you to go do something, you should say, go ahead and take a swing, pal.
Thank you John, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, David, Ladder, Trevor. Thank you so much for being with us. And it was really a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, Ariel. Hey, if you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button, share this video. Hey, and go to rael.org, download the book, read it, see what you can find there. I've read so many books. I've read The Law of One. I've read the Owaspi. I've read the Urantia. I've read many apocryphal books, and I can find truth in so many books. And we actually are told in the Doctrine and Covenants to search out the best books. And so I'm excited that Ariel's going to also take a look at the Book of Mormon. I know Pierre Charles, who set this up, he's familiar with the Book of Mormon. And Moroni was probably one of those Elohim that came to Joseph Smith. The Elohim are busy in our lives. They have a vested interest in helping us. And they're allowing us to progress and to become like them. So for myself, I'm Shane Baldwin. For David the Lion Douglas, Latter Day Chad, and Trevor the Key Keys, and our awesome guest, Ariel. We'll see you guys all next time.
Thank you all.